Going live in 3, 2.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet. I notice no one ever waits for me.
Oh,
I thought you were the end. You were the
that's just by circumstance,
last, Roger.
That's just by
for last.
circumstance.
maybe you're the slowest one.
Or the
Actually, I should have
one.
tried to say it with an Australian accent. I got my bush hat on here, right?
You got your bush hat on there.
I have one of those. Actually, I have a Cobra, but
That's not a hat.
I don't know where it went though when I moved.
Tim Tams.
Straight.
And now we're out of everything we've got, right?
Today, of course. Shrimp on the bobby. Nobody says that.
No.
You're such a bogan.
Oh, no.
How about good on ya?
It's a touchy word.
Good on ya.
Good on you. That's what Rose from Australia always says,
They used
from
to
Hobart.
Harbour Bridge.
Arvo is a pretty big
Beachy
one.
in the rocks.
Muzzy for mosquitoes.
Mackey's.
Macca's. It's Macca's. Go to Macca's for your breakfast. And then I get the pancakes with the sausage.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yeah, they're hardcore in Australia. They order the pancakes.
Well, you know, when I ordered pancakes in Australia, they served it with a side of vanilla ice cream.
That doesn't sound painful at all.
That
sounds
sounds
wonderful.
awesome.
Hot
Sounds
and cold.
great.
It does. It's delicious.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm totally going to just go make that.
It's the most inappropriate breakfast next to Lucky Charms.
When my kids were little, they wanted Lucky Charms for breakfast. And I told them, I said, look, I will go buy you a bowl of marshmallows. And if you eat them knowing that they are candy, then that's okay. But I'm not going to pretend this is breakfast. So I told them there was a ban. I would never, ever allow them to do it or have them. And so then I immediately called my mother-in-law and said, every time they come over, give them Lucky Charms.
Aw, nice mom.
It was the best. My son is, 27, 28 years old, and he still asks for Lucky Charms from grandma now.
I was wondering if it's like, oh, he doesn't have any of his natural teeth left. Actually, that and donuts, that's another inappropriate breakfast item.
I saw it.
Oh, but it's so good.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's so
They're
not
good.
Inappropriate.
They taste good,
You're
but
right,
Don't you
you're
feel
right.
like crap afterwards?
It depends on who makes the donut.
Roger feels like
No.
crap after everything he eats.
No,
No, you feel
Wait,
good.
what?
I mean, have you ever finished a donut for breakfast and been like, yeah, I'm ready to take on the world? Usually you're like, I should probably
When
extra
did
fry.
Tom
Yeah.
become so surly?
If you haven't eaten in like a week, you eat a donut.
Definitely.
Actually-
The only ones that don't make me feel that way are Krispy Kreme. I'll
no,
actually
those are
have a
the worst.
second one of those.
Those are the ones I hate the most.
Those are the ones that make me
Oh.
dizzy right after I eat. them.
Oh yeah, there's probably aspartame in those
No,
donuts.
it's like so much sugar, it spikes my blood and whatever. And
I don't.
it's like-
Yeah,
that's
I
why
don't
Allison
like the
is right.
synthetic nature of those donuts. Something
Really?
wrong with those donuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are the only ones I can eat two of.
Winchell's, but that
I can
was
eat
that
two
was.
of any
But they don't.
donut. I got no problem.
It's all the shortening, really. It's just a shortening.
Like a good bear claw myself.
Ooh, claws of the
Back to
bear.
pancakes and ice cream, though. I'm really thinking they're onto something there.
It is, and it's a normal
sounds-
scoop. It's not like a little butter like scoop. Like it's a full on
But
ice
like a-
cream scoop. Boom.
French vanilla? You thinking?
I don't remember. I just remember.
You don't want to go
asking-
like chocolate or something, or raspberry.
They
That
just
would
served. I like when I was like, wow, that's a really big scoop of butter. It's like that's not butter. It's ice cream. It's like, oh. Well, I don't need the
A lot
syrup
of
then.
butter.
I don't need syrup then.
Ah.
But the burritos were terrible. But that was like 18 years ago. So
15 years ago.
15 years
30
ago.
years ago.
15.
70 years ago.
Why is Chrome so non-standard?
Because
It is the standard. If Chrome isn't doing it, it's not the standard, says Google.
I guess.
maybe you're not standard.
I mean, come on. Command
Yeah.
plus. Command plus. That means make the text bigger. Command minus
plus,
smaller.
it's Command N.
Not bring up another.
Command.
Oh yeah.
Option.
Command plus is part of my daily Google
Yeah,
Sheets.
so Command Plus doesn't make the.
Well,
Yeah.
it does, but it doesn't. It brings
zooms
up it brings up a thing that says 100 and it's got plus minus
Yeah,
buttons.
and you choose 150 and everything's good. You could read.
I guess.
I do anyway.
Hey, you know what you really want? I think I told you this last time. You want cataract
what I
surgery
want,
because
what I
I was
really-
actually doing command minus just now.
Wait a minute. I want cataract surgery. Wait, do I have cataracts?
Why is Chrome so non-standard? When I press Command minus, it doesn't zoom in.
Yeah, it seems to get smaller. In fact,
Are you
Yeah.
seeing
We
something
call it
in my
cataract
eyes
surgery.
that I don't see? Now I'm
No,
paranoid.
apparently, we
saying.
all need cataract surgery.
I think they should. I
Allison's
think she
saying.
should give children, like babies at birth, cataract surgery. Just boom, get it done. It's the best thing ever. I
But
can
don't-
see everything now.
Yeah, but don't you have to wear like sunglasses all the time now when you're outdoors?
Get this. My fake lenses that are in my eyes are UV blocking and blue blockers.
Blue blockers. Wow, from
Yes.
TV infomercial to contacts. That's a pretty...
I know.
So, does everything feel yellow?
Well, the doctor had me do this, and tell him whether I could see it turn yellow, and it was a little bit amber, but not
Yeah.
much. He said a lot of people go, "Whoa, this is different," and I didn't.
I'm not even sure that would bother me. I kind of
Yeah.
like an amber shade in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
not
like-
too much, but
golden
I like
hour
a
lighting. and
lighter
all-
shade of pale.
I want the filter that they used in Star Wars Rogue One, where they basically swapped in like an old Panasonic lens onto the camera to give it a very gritty feel to it, because that's what I want to see in life: the texture, the kind of the visible scars of everyday life on people.
By the way, old guy in the Discord just typed, "Today is Poets Day," and it's true because we are starting early on Good Day Internet so that we can poets.
Could honor them
The
poets.
show early.
Yeah,
It's not good.
that
Tom.
was seamless.
thanks. I realized that I couldn't
Hey,
actually.
we're starting early because poets.
I think of the children when I don't explain those algorithms, those acronyms.
Roses
It
are
wasn't
red.
an acronym, and it was
Old guy just wrote it out. That's not how I know it. Old guy. Mine is out early tomorrow's Saturday, not on everything tomorrow's Saturday.
So my mom, who's listening, hello, Mom,
Hi, Linnell.
just texted, hello, Linnell, that she had cataract surgery on Wednesday, which I knew was happening, but
Oh,
yeah.
it had been booked months ago, and
ask
so
her
I
if
kind of
it's
forgot about it.
life-changing.
She
Ask her.
says amazing with 3 exclamation points.
Yeah, see?
Sounds good. Yeah.
That's two.
But
two
cataracts
moms.
isn't a natural state of human vision, right? It's,
No, but you can. All it is they take the lens out and put in a fake lens. So just tell me you
Yeah,
just
Scott
bought a
Johnson
fake
did.
lens.
So when they do that, can't they just correct my vision instead of doing the whole LASIK thing?
it does correct your vision. Yeah. It's a fixed focal length. The multifocal length ones are kind of cruddy right now. They have them, but they don't work that well. So I chose computer distance. So you'll notice I'm reading the computer with no glasses at all.
I want every distance. I want the eyes of a hawk.
I want
Yeah.
the lenses in the Huawei P30. Can I get that?
Oh,
you can get one in each eye.
Yeah,
that are
can you
different.
do that? So one is
Yes.
far focused
Yes.
distance, and one.
Yes.
And so you
Yeah,
do
Some
I
that.
want
people do that.
stacked. I want stacked lenses.
Oh, what about
You might
my,
want to.
What about
You
my
might want to
mind?
practice that
Do you
first
have-
with some
Do you have
contact lenses.
digital zoom, Allison?
No, it's.
It's optical.
You know, I'll tell you one big problem though. I never used to get scratches on my Apple Watch until I got cataract surgery.
Oh, ha 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 ha. ha.
No, seriously, I never. And now it's like, oh man, this
I don't
is really
understand the
bashed up.
joke.
No,
It's
because
all-
she
it
couldn't
has-
see
they've
him
been there all
before.
along. I didn't know they were there.
But with the surgery.
Oh,
I
got
also
it.
have far
Now you
more
can see
wrinkles.
Things like that.
I want to go back to doing cataract surgery on babies.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but there's no cataracts to
Start
reveal.
him
You
young.
just take the lenses out. Cataract
But
surgery
they
is
won't-
putting
they
in an
won't notice.
intraocular lens.
Their lenses are just fine. Don't you have to wait for them to degrade a little before you makes a difference?
Yeah, I don't think you can. You
Also-
can
Doesn't
have to
perform
make a
cataract
difference.
surgery unless there are cataracts, and newborns just wouldn't have that.
Well, no, but so cataract surgery just means taking the lens out and putting in an
Yeah, but why
intraocular
would you
lens.
do that?
I
A
see. So
newborn's
why
Do it
lens
so
works.
everybody
you
has
want your
perfect vision their whole life.
Yeah,
you never have
bionic
to wear
baby.
glasses. You just fix it right up front
I
instead of
would
later.
not have benefited from that. I had 20/10 vision most of my life.
Most.
Oh, Superman.
How about
here.
all of your
It
life?
wasn't until I was 40 that it started to go bad. That's when I should have gotten it. If you give it to me before that,
Well, what if you could have 20/40 and never wear glasses, never go to the eye? 2010. Sorry.
I want
2010.
8K in
Is
each
2010
eye.
I
better than
never wore
2020?
glasses till I was
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
till I was
Everyone
43.
brags
But
about
with
their
any
vision.
luck, a great portion of your life, you're going to be over 40.
I mean, I still don't wear glasses, and I really need to.
I decided to go ahead and act like I'm 50. So I'm just
Act.
gonna,
Just skip right over.
I'm gonna shake my fist at clouds and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
S-
Yell at
instead
a
of-
chair.
Instead of
Mhm.
at people.
My mom
Maybe
taught me
become
that.
the mayor of Carmel, California. Something
When
like that.
somebody
you
asks
do?
you how old you are, always lie up. Because if I say I'm 40, people go, "Whoa, been out in the sun too long." But if I say I'm 62, they're like, "Damn, wait,
Wow,
I
you
am
look
61."
great.
Yeah, 75. Damn, you look great.
Convince
I have to keep
people.
moving that joke up. I
It's-
used to tell it the other way.
It goes both
Yeah,
ways,
right.
though. Every once in a while, when I'm buying a 6-pack or something, and someone's like, "Can I see your ID?" And then they look at it and they're like, oh, "Sorry." I'm like, "Well,
Wait, why is that
that is
bad?
a real backhanded compliment." Well, because it's like you
It's a
thought
compliment.
maybe I was 20 years old, and then you look at my actual age and laugh and can't help yourself because I'm so much older than you thought I was. Eh,
might be
I don't
laughing
know
at
how I
themselves,
feel about
though.
all that.
I stopped getting carded when I hit 39, 40.
Jeez.
People just
I
kind
mean, it doesn't happen that often, but every once in a while it does.
And guys, there wasn't carding when I was your age.
What? You just little babies could buy beer?
Yeah,
and-
I mean, it just didn't come up. It wasn't that big of a deal.
No, yeah.
It was eyeballing. Like, nah, you look
Yeah.
old enough.
just
Yeah.
drink your beer and drive home.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. Look both ways.
Let me know if you need help cranking that car up.
You know, we went to New Mexico once and found out that it was dry. So on Sundays you couldn't buy liquor in a store, but you could buy it at a drive-through.
Mm.
Yep.
So only if you were operating a motor vehicle could you have liquor.
That's a Texas thing, isn't it?
But,
Yeah, that
good-
was-
In
used
certain
to be.
counties,
Used to be.
I think. Wow.
I used to go pick up beer at the party barn. You just drive right in, tell them what you want. They put it in your trunk for you. And
Give me some beer and something
they hand you a
else.
bottle opener.
And the drive-through
they just had
process
beer,
is very
wine.
obviously it's convenient, but why liquor specifically? Is there
'Cause you're-
some reason where people are like, can't be bothered, can't get out of my truck?
yeah, because you want to get to the party. You don't want to waste time.
But you could say that about any grocery.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, they have Cheetos too.
But what's
right?
the most important grocery, Sarah?
depends on the party, I guess.
Yeah.
I might say spinach dip, personally, but okay.
I think you're right, though. I think the party barn did have some limited amount of like chips and stuff.
Yeah.
They had to have Cheetos.
Give me a pony keg of salsa and
peanuts.
and a couple of cases.
Well, that's the
of
other
chip-
thing. A lot of times it was really meant for kegs. That's a good point, Roger. And that's something you
Mhm.
like go inside, carry it outside. No, you just drive in the party
Yeah.
barn. They throw it in the trunk for you. So.
At the risk of being professional, would you go with Zheng Fei as the pronunciation of the CEO of Huawei?
It's close enough, right? Yeah.
Hmm?
Zheng Fei.
Zheng Fei? Just say it real fast to me.
How?
Altameyer.
Zheng Fei. Ren Zheng Fei is. I mean, I'm not getting it right either, but your
I'm
pronunciation.
within the boundary conditions of
yeah,
correct.
yeah. We're not trying to do Nicaragua.
You mean over enunciation by people
Yeah.
by non-native speakers?
Oh, who was I? I kept hearing somebody. Oh, it was Rob Dunwood. He calls Huawei Huawei.
Wow.
I have never heard him do that.
Oh no,
Does
he did on SMR, and every time Chris said it back to him, Chris said Huawei, and every time Rob said it, he said Huawei.
I'll have to listen back. I don't
Hua.
remember that.
There's a flower in it. It's hua.
Where's the flower?
That's
See,
what hua
I
means.
try to
That's part
say
of the name.
hua, although
Huawei.
often it's wah. That's what I hear.
Hua
But
is,
I've also always felt like hua is the
yeah,
appropriate way
hua
to say it.
is Mandarin for flower, and that's part of the name. of the
I
company.
didn't know
That's
that.
why their logo is a flower.
Oh, what's the way part?
Probably the person's name.
Oh.
Which person?
What does Zheng Fei mean then?
Ren Zheng Fei.
That it's
Cheng Fei.
it's kind of hard because a lot of them, like my name, like if I told you it was Yahweh, you wouldn't understand what it means, but it essentially means someone you have great
God.
expected. Well, it means God. Well, actually, it's
Yes, different
To us,
meaning,
it
different
does.
meaning.
but
Obviously.
but it also means, at least according to my dad, it means someone you have great expectations from, which isn't that too dissimilar. So
True. Right. Yeah, no pressure, Raj.
I've already aimed below that bar. So
I don't have Huawei, but I have.
Xiaomi.
the money.
There it is.
There's that.
All right.
Oh, what's the other one that we get? We get a lot of feedback on. What is it?
Nokia. Nokia.
No, not Nokia.
Firefox.
But I have while you think of it, Robert, aka Really Evil Bob on Twitter, jumped up on his feet and cheered when I compared Red Vines and Twizzlers to Vim and Emacs on yesterday's Good Day Internet.
Yeah, he said something like, "Did Sarah ever get it?" Which I think he meant to say, "Did Sarah even get it?" Which I did not. So great for Tom and guest.
Text editing.
There's two kinds of people in this world: the kind of people who use Vim and the kind of people who use Emacs. And the people who don't use what you use are wrong.
The next time I say something and someone jumps up and cheers, I want to hear about it.
Yeah. On the Twitter.
That's kind of a good day, right?
I jumped up and cheered when you said I hate bacon.
Or jumped up and
Did you remember the thing that people are always telling us we say wrong?
Yeah. It is hold on.
Tom.
It's Tom. Yes. Tom Merritt. You can say that right.
You guys are saying that's so wrong. It's Los Angeles.
I was thinking of Azure.
Oh, Azure. Yeah.
Which I say Azure all the time. And every time someone writes in and says, "Sarah, don't say it that way."
Azure to you too.
It is Azure. But I've never felt it was so important that people wouldn't understand what you were trying to say.
No, and I don't think that's the problem. I don't think anyone's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." It's more like you're just saying it wrong. And the more someone says that to me, the more every time I see the word, I'm like, like you have that moment right before you say it where you're like, "I'm going to get this wrong." And then you get it more wrong.
Nuclear.
Oh,
no, that I don't say.
Me on nuclear.
But man, that is a rampant thing.
Jimmy Carter, a nuclear engineer, calling it nuclear. Oh.
Yeah, no. So the other day I got an espresso and I went down to the library to read up on nuclear physics.
Mm. Now, did you have a realtor when you bought your new house?
Yes, I did. Then I went back to the house that my realtor bought.
You're just being mischievous.
Oh, this hurts.
Our iHeart Infotech just says, "I live near Haupaugge, which is my kryptonite." I could never say that right. That's one of the ones where I'm like, I know I've been told how to say it. Is it Haupaugge?
Haupaugge. I always Haupaugge.
When people are nice about it, I appreciate them trying to help us pronounce things better. But I do try to explain to people like we're never getting 100% right if it's a non-English name or word. Like we're gonna.
I want to know if there's something that I'm repeatedly saying wrong that's in the news. Like I want to know if someone's like, "Hey, Sarah, just say it this way," and then you're gonna
like Los
sound
Angeles
a little bit more informed. Yes, like Los Angeles, for example. But yeah. Sometimes
another hard year.
That's it.
Another hard year for me was the entire year of El Capitan on the Mac because Dave Hamilton insisted on pronouncing it El Capitan. And I kept telling him, I said, "That's not how they say it." "Well, yes, but it comes from the original Spanish, blah, blah." I said, "It doesn't matter. That's not what we call it.
You should say El Capitan every time.
Exactly. And I wanted to tell him, so do you root from Massachusetts? Do you root for the Boston Celtics?
Celtics?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
That's the thing. Like, I think that it is acceptable for languages to have their own preferred pronunciation for foreign words. That's normal. Like we say Los Angeles. That's a preferred pronunciation that is not a Spanish pronunciation. There's all kinds of examples.
If you're a native Spanish speaker, it is just perfectly fine to say El Segundo.
Yeah,
but it's also okay for us not to.
Well, Tom, you used to live in San Rafael.
Yes.
You want to call it San Rafael? Everyone will be like,
which is the most. This is the thing that bugs me. It's not that people have a preferred pronunciation, but it's so inconsistent. Why is it San Jose? But then San.
It's not inconsistent. It's the way people say it.
And then you've got Vallejo. It's
half
right and half wrong.
The entire English language is inconsistent.
But then you have like La Jolla. No one says La Jolla.
Right, because that's the way we say it.
That's a very circular argument.
No, it's not. It's just like the accepted pronunciation that everybody understands
it's what's stuck.
Yeah, becomes what's used.
Yeah. Look at Los Feliz. Makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
But if you say Los Feliz, everyone's like, you're not from here.
Or I just read an article about how here in Southern California, we say the 10, the 405, the 101, which is funny because I picked that habit up when I visited LA for the first time in the 90s. I started calling it the 101 because that's what my friends here called it. And when I moved to San Francisco, I would call the 101 the 101, but I'd call 5 5. And people were very confused. Anyway, the article I read said that that developed from when the freeways were created before the number designations. So it was the Santa Monica Freeway, the Harbor Freeway. It was the name
The
freeway.
San Diego yeah.
Okay. They later got the numbers put on, and people just kind of, as they shifted over to using the numbers in the 70s, kept using the article.
Oh, is that how that happened?
When
I
was,
always referred to it as 101. I've never called it the 101.
Yeah, because you're from the Bay Area. That makes sense.
101.
but I mean, I say the now because I've lived in Southern California long enough. But growing up, anytime you heard that, you'd be like, "Oh, where are you from in Southern California?"
Yeah,
You're
so
not from
I had
there.
somebody. I called it the 101 one time, and somebody asked me like, "Oh, are you from LA?" I'm like, no.
Yeah, no,
Illinois.
it's because it's one of the like you don't
Yeah.
So in other places, they would just say 101
280.
number.
Yeah, take 280 to 101.
Yeah,
That's
I
literally
used to say like, oh, when we're going down to San Jose, we'll take 280 to the 101, and people are like, you can't mix it.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
no.
Okay.
You can say the 280 to the 101 or 280 to 101,
You're
but not
very
both.
confused.
No, I'm taking 99, and then I'm going to go over the grapevine and slap you again.
I never say the 99. You're right. I would never say that.
Why
I
not?
do say the 5 now. I've gotten used to adding the to the 5 because there's 99. I never drive the 99 down here. I just said it. I guess I was wrong.
I don't think I've ever said I'm taking Highway 5. You can't say that. It just sounds like
I
you
grew
gotta
up.
like brush your teeth or something afterwards.
I grew up
you take
saying
the 5.
you take Highway 40, or you get on I-70.
Well, yeah, old guy just said that. It's I-24.
Yeah.
But we never say Interstate 5. Well,
You take 140 or Highway 40 or I-70 out of Greenville. Those are your big
those are your options.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it wrong. Hey, can I complain about Apple for a minute?
Yeah. Wait.
I
Is it
mean,
good?
Sure. Yeah.
If you have an ever so slight complaint.
So, how come do not disturb doesn't mean freaking do not disturb, Apple? So, right now, I
in
have
what
my
sense are you being disturbed?
my watch is on do not disturb. In fact, my watch is on airplane mode for some reason. I don't know why I did that. My phone, which is connected to my watch and obeys my watch, is also on airplane mode. My computer, my Mac is on do not disturb, and my iPad is on do not disturb. And my phone just rang. I get Telegram messages. I get Ring doorbell messages. Everything still lights up. It has no effect. The only way I can stop it is to go into each single one and go, Ring, don't make a sound. Telegram, don't make a sound. Messages, don't make a sound.
So why not just go into airplane mode on your phone?
It's my phone, my iPad, and my computer. They're all ringing when this happens. So Steve opens the front door. The Ring alarm system and my August lock both send message to all 4 devices, to my watch, my phone, my iPad, my Mac.
If you have your messages, iMessage, set to ping your phone number first before any like iCloud accounts or whatever you might have, and you put that device in airplane mode, that should solve the problem, I think.
Yeah, but it's not just messages. It's Telegram. It's Ring. It's the August door lock. It's my smart garage door opener. It's the dog catcher. It's like, what is do not disturb for? The call might be okay because that was my daughter and she's on my VIP list. And I think that's set to ring through.
That could be why.
Right. But everything else, I mean, it's all still ringing while I've been sitting here. So there.
Well,
slight Macintosh bias.
I will head down Red Ball Trail to 140, up either lane to 127, over to the old 40, take old 40 up to 40, get on I-70 and head into St. Louis.
Remember when we used to go up near where Roger lives, and it was let's see if I can do it, the 405 to the 110 to the, is it the 134 next? No, to the 5 to the 134 to the 2.
Yeah, that's over. It's that Pasadena route.
Yeah. With all the thes.
Thes.
Yeah, it would be weird for me to be like, oh yeah, you want to get over to the Huntington Library, take the 5 to, I can't even say it.
You can't even do it.
Take 5 to 134. Ugh, no, I couldn't do it. No, that's reserved for places up north.
Now, when you get into town, if you don't get off on 70, you'll end up on 64 or 44. Which case you want to get off at King's Highway and circle back?
Which king?
I think
all of them,
Louis, honestly.
Really?
St. Louis
St. Louis
in the Louisiana.
Did you grow up in St. Louis?
I grew up on the Illinois side. I did not grow up in St. Louis.
I have to I literally have to pinch myself to not always be like, but Tom is from a completely different state. He's not even from Missouri, but that's just the closest big city, which is just so weird to California people in general.
Because you don't have that situation
there is no
where there's a river
nearer
and a
to
big
us.
city.
A river does not run through it here.
How about the Kansas City people who live in Missouri and then, move across the street and live in Kansas?
Yeah.
They don't even have a river. Well, they have a river, but that's not the reason.
I've actually stood on in the street where it's like Missouri, Kansas.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. And it's bizarre that a
there's
city.
places where you can see 5 states. You can stand in 5 states at once because they're all meeting.
5? I thought there was only 4 corners. Was the big
There's 4 corners, but I think there's one place you can do 5. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
5 corners?
Not.
Well, there's only 4 corners.
Yeah, well,
by,
that's right.
by definition.
Maybe you put your
corner.
hands and feet down
No,
one and
you
you
can have more
butt
than
the
one
other.
corner.
You can't have 5 corners.
Sure you can. Like an inverted star.
A pentagon?
Yeah, it's Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona is 4 corners.
If you're talking about states, that's what I was saying.
That's what I mean. They're just.
I don't think there's any pointy triangular states.
Not yet.
Are there?
Triangular state would be
Apparently
pretty cool.
the 5 states at once thing was mentioned on a Simpsons episode.
Yes. It was a joke for the 4 corners.
That's why it stuck in my head.
They had to each stand in a state because, except for Maggie. Oh, Maggie had to be in one, and then 2 kids and 2 adults.
Okay, Tom, that makes me so happy.
That's how it got in my head, anyway.
You can't get there from here.
I think I told you guys on an episode past that I took a train from Penn Station to Baltimore, 5 states in 2 hours on a train. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland.
Wow.
I mean,
in
I was
2 hours?
losing my mind the entire time, and everyone else is just sort of like doing work or, sleeping. And I was like, 5
what?
states.
You guys realize?
Oh my gosh, so many states.
I'll tell you what the problem with that is. I went to Boston when I was fairly young. I was in my 20s, I think, and I had to drive. I was going to go see my brother. I was there for a business trip, but I was going to go visit my brother. And I looked at the map, and it was like this far on the map to get to my brother's house. So that's what, an hour and a half, right? So I just get in the car, and I'm listening to some music, and I got the windows open, and I'm singing along to disco or something like that. And I look at the map, and I'm like 75% of the way past my brother's house. Because in LA, this big on the map is an hour and a half. But in Boston, that's like 15 minutes. Because the places are so teeny.
I know.
They're little itty bitty states.
I know. I sort of half troll them, but my friends on the East Coast, I'm constantly like, and you're just going to another state for lunch?
Well, you know what state we should be in?
What?
The state to do the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to make a Slovenian joke, and now you'll never hear it.
Wow. Oh, my loss.
All right. Shall we begin then?
We shall.
Here we go. In 3, 2. Sun King Sei Chow has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Sun King. Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS. This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, June 21st, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Allison Sheridan from the Podfeet Podcast Empire.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Is that the Outland Empire? The Podfeet Podcast?
Yeah, you take the 234.
See Good Day Internet for more on that. We got some great stuff to talk about today. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Huawei says its smartphone sales have risen in the past few days in Western Europe, though no actual numbers were released. Meanwhile, Reuters cites a report from the state-owned RIA news agency in Russia, saying a Russian deputy of communications minister told it that Huawei will begin talks to possibly use Russia's Avrovra operating system.
Oh, that makes it way better. Well, after a meeting with Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfei, German economy minister Peter Altmaier said Huawei must demonstrate it can meet security requirements in order to be part of building out the country's 5G infrastructure. In March, Germany established tougher criteria for telecom network equipment vendors.
Foxconn founder Terry Gao told the company's annual general meeting that he is officially stepping down as chairman of the company in order to run for president of Taiwan as part of the Kuomintang party. You will remain on Foxconn's board of directors. He will remain on Foxconn's board of directors. Gao also urged Apple to move production to Foxconn operations in Taiwan. Foxconn handles some of Apple's production in China and elsewhere, but his parting shot was like, and everybody move their stuff here. Bye.
A study from Sweden's Ericsson finds that India has the highest rate of average data use per smartphone at 9.8 gigabytes per month at the end of 2018. The study predicts that the rate will reach 18 gigabytes per month by 2024. Increased LTE subscriptions, better data plans, and increased video watching are among the reasons given. Regionally, average data use per smartphone in Northeast Asia was 7.1 gigabytes per month, followed by North America at 7 gigabytes.
So that whole thing is just fascinating to me. Now, one of the things I thought was interesting was that the statistic is average data use per smartphone, and India's average or the smartphone penetration in the country is not as high as a lot of other places, but the rate of change of the number of smartphones it's bananas, right? It's really, really growing quickly.
That's why they're expecting that 18 number, right? Because people are just going to keep using.
Yeah, so not only is their penetration increasing, they're using it much more than anybody else. That is really interesting.
All right, Allison, tell us about the study to find out if these names of automatic systems in cars are misleading.
This is a story close to my heart. A survey from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety asked 2,000 people about advanced driver assistance systems, referring to them only by their brand names, such as Autopilot, Traffic Jam Assist, Super Cruise, etc. Respondents were asked about two systems and were not told the car maker or capabilities in order to test the perception of the feature based on its name alone. Respondents were asked to rate the safety of things that the car makers say you shouldn't do, like taking your hands off the wheel, watching a movie, or taking a nap. More people believed it was safe to perform these behaviors with Autopilot than the other six systems. 48% said it was safe to take hands off the wheel for Autopilot versus 33% for ProPilot Assist and less for others. Thankfully, only 6% said it was safe to take a nap with Autopilot. 3% said so for the others.
At least it's below 10, right? There's been a lot of debate about whether the name Autopilot just kind of makes people think it's safer than it is, because they think, I can just let go and on autopilot. And a lot of times the argument is, well, airplanes still need a pilot. So calling it autopilot shouldn't mean you can just let it go. But it's not about what it does mean. It's about what people think it means. So the study was an attempt to kind of evaluate that in a controlled manner. Allison, what do you think?
Yeah, that was really fascinating, because it absolutely does change your mind about how you think about something as what it is named. It's like, well, they wouldn't have called it autopilot if it wasn't Autopilot. But I also find people's reactions to these things really interesting. I recently bought a Tesla, and a guy said to me, he said, well, Allison, I know a friend of mine. She had has that Tesla there, and she had it on auto navigation, and she fell asleep at the wheel and woke up 2 miles past her house. Yeah, where would she have awakened if she hadn't had autopilot 2 hours?
Did she fall asleep because she had autopilot? I mean, that's a whole different question.
Could be. Yeah. But I think she woke up dead if she fell asleep behind a regular car. So,
totally. Possibly, yeah.
I think these things are great, but I agree that the naming convention. But to tell you the truth, in the Tesla, there's like 12 different names for things. There's
and some of those names are a little nuts, right? Yeah. Insanity mode. Like that doesn't sound good. But
Yeah.
but you know it's actually a
Ludicrous
feature that
mode
works
and all
really
that.
well when used appropriately.
But the autopilot thing in particular, there's auto navigation, which is a completely different thing than autopilot. Auto navigation, it's actually changing interchanges for you. It would take the 134 to the 2 to the 110.
For you.
Yeah.
At what kind of speed?
Freeway speeds, like on the
speed.
sorry.
Yeah, you just don't want to sleep through that. My
No, and
goodness.
I think this shows that possibly calling it autopilot has an effect that makes people trust it more. It's not the last word definitive study. I don't think it means calling it autopilot is recklessly irresponsible. But I have been of the opinion that, I don't know, maybe just don't call it autopilot and you'll have less problems. This
Yeah.
just seems to bolster that argument.
Yeah, something more like assist rather than auto makes a big difference. I have a friend who he's had a Model S for a few years and does a lot of long distance driving, and is like, oh yeah, I'd like watch movies on Netflix. I won't
Don't do
out
that.
him. I won't out him, and you
Don't
shouldn't
do
do it. But he's like, no, it's so good. It's so
Ugh,
reliable.
no,
and I'm like,
no,
oh my
no,
gosh.
no,
I
no,
hope that
no.
nobody does that ever.
Friend of mine bought one just because he said I was already texting and driving, so I figured I might as well have a Tesla so I can text and drive.
That's a horrible reason.
No.
Okay, these
don't
are not
do it.
representative people of the general population. All right, let's
No,
make
no,
that clear right now.
These are the things that kind of scare us about the whole autopilot situation. Moving on, though, France, which has the rotating presidency of the Group of Seven, also known as G7, has ordered the creation of a task force to study how central banks can make sure things like Facebook's Libra are governed by proper regulations and protect consumers and prevent money laundering. The group doesn't oppose the creation of an instrument for financial transactions, but wants to make sure that Libra and others don't become sovereign currencies of their own. The task force wants to define what a stable cryptocurrency is and how fixed exchange rates should be.
Yeah, from my reading of the Libra Association, they want all this stuff. They want governments to set the rules and tell them what they can and can't do as far as being used as a currency. They want to play by the rules for preventing money laundering. So I don't think the Libra Association has a problem with any of this. This is why they announced it so far in advance of when they plan to launch it, because they want to work through these issues. Allison, have you got a chance to wrap your head around the whole Libra thing?
No, not really. I did listen to you guys talk about it, but I don't know. I still feel like it's fake. I mean, I understand it's real and it exists and it's going to be a real thing, but it's still
not fake.
Yeah.
Well,
but you could be forgiven for being like, this is.
Here's the thing. It's really no different than when you send money over the internet right now. When you send money over the internet, you're not sending paper bills, right? You're not faxing things or anything. Yeah. There's no teleportation.
Yeah, but it takes 3 days for no reason.
Exactly. Well, it takes 3 days because they want to prevent money laundering and fraud, and they didn't have an efficient way to do that until blockchain came along. Libra Association is saying, hey, we have the technology to do this better now. What if we did this across multiple currencies and just eased things up for people?
Yeah, but I still don't have an explanation for why ACH doesn't work on a weekend. Do you know that doesn't?
Because I think it's because you need a guy named Pat to push
pull the lever.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. That's why. See, I'm comfortable with that. It's like when you go to Starbucks, there's no line. You're like, what's wrong? I got to get out. I got to go.
Because everybody used their Bitcoin to buy their Starbucks over the app. That's why. Walmart confirmed that it uses computer vision technology as part of its missed scan detection surveillance program that identifies scanning errors as well as missed items at checkout. The system began to roll out 2 years ago and is deployed at more than 1,000 stores, looking at both self-checkout and human cashiers. So you can understand why this might be needed at self-checkout for sure, but even human cashiers might miss that somebody grabbed something and stuck it in a bag, or maybe they're colluding with the person who knows.
Or it's down at the bottom of the cart, cashier doesn't see it. Yeah.
The system works fast enough to notify employees about the miss and scan the missing item before it leaves the store. So this is meant to prevent theft.
It's interesting that it's sort of mimics Amazon Go's store model, where you just take stuff that you need and leave the store and you get charged for it based on what you've taken. This is a theft prevention tool, but it, as the lines kind of blur more and more, how often are you're going to be able to go through a register and kind of not worry about, arguing with somebody over whether the eggs were on sale or not, because it's all just sort of in the system and automatic.
That would be nice. I would like to understand more about the computer vision technology. I didn't catch exactly what is it doing. Is it looking at the shapes of the stuff left in your cart and then saying, oh, okay, wait a minute, we didn't have a shape like that? I didn't really.
I mean, it's AI. So they trained it to say, this is what it looks like when something has been missed. Send an alert when you see that. And so you don't train it on a thing. You train it on having it do this sort of process and then alerting and doing reinforcement and saying, yes, you got it right that time. That's the thing about AI. We don't always know.
We don't know how it's doing it. Yeah. That bothers me, but okay. I already said I didn't believe in cryptocurrency, so I can't say I don't believe in this. I only get one each show, right?
We'll let you have as many as you want, to be honest. That's fine. I
don't believe in VR either.
Controversial. I can see where you could have some healthy skepticism of whether cryptocurrency and blockchain would work in practice for what they're saying they want it to. I think it's likely that it can. It's been proven in other ways. This sort of thing, though, I mean, you've got a whole Amazon Go store, like you said, that does even more than this. This is almost a limited version of what's possible.
And Walmart did say that it's reducing. What was the word they had for the
shrinkage?
Shrinkage. They did say they have been able to measure significant or some amount of shrinkage for these stores that have this computer vision technology. So that's cool.
I was in the pool.
Yeah, nobody has stole a portable pool since this went into place. All right. Section 230 of the U.S. Communications Decency Act, or CDA 230, as you'll often hear it called, says, and I'll quote, "No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider." In other words, if you're running Facebook or a message board or whatever, you're not liable for the things people say on your platform. This is especially important for ISPs that are transferring all kinds of stuff all the time. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has proposed ending this. He has the Ending Support for Internet Censorship Act that would remove CDA 230 protection from any company that has more than 30 million active monthly users in the United States, or 300 million worldwide, or more than $500 million in revenue. You meet one of those three criteria, you lose your CDA 230 safe harbor. Now, companies could apply to get it back. They'd have to go to the United States Federal Trade Commission and submit an audit of their content moderation policies. And then the FTC would look it over and see if the platform's moderation was politically neutral. If 4 of the 5 FTC commissioners agreed that it was politically neutral, then they could get their CDA 230 protection back.
Wait a minute. So this is only about politics.
This is about political neutrality. So Senator Hawley
Not
is
about
saying,
decency.
Forget the name of the act. It doesn't matter about decency. CDA 230 says you can't be liable for what someone else publishes. And places like Facebook rely on this to be able to allow folks to publish stuff. Otherwise, they'd have to approve every single post.
Right.
Holly's saying, I'm going to take away that protection unless you can prove to me that you are not oppressing speech based on political orientation.
But so they can suppress speech on all kinds of other things, just not politics.
No, that I think you hit the nub of this. If I lose my safe harbor protection, it is now in my interest to suppress all speech, whether it's political or not.
Just in case.
If I want to get my safe harbor back, I have to prove somehow something that's probably very difficult to prove because it depends on who's looking at it, what they think is politically neutral speech. And so if I can't get that back, I am definitely going to be suppressing all kinds of political speech, whether it's neutral or not, because I don't want to be liable for it.
This makes absolutely no sense. And the specifics of 300 million worldwide, 30 million active monthly users, or 500 million in revenue.
So basically,
is there basically just 1 or 2 companies above
Twitter, Facebook, Apple, maybe Google, Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is so obviously targeted.
They're definitely going after Facebook and Twitter in this. And Instagram. Yeah.
Need some mouthwash.
Well, it is a bill designed to appeal to voters because it says, "Hey, I'm going to protect you. You folks have been worried that you're not able to say what you want to say. I'm going to protect you." That's great. But the solution is just a stick to say, "Hey, you big tech companies, I'm going after you," which also appeals to the voters. Everybody hates tech, both sides of the aisle these days, right? So it's not about this bill making sense. It's about winning votes.
Ugh. I'm going to wash my mouth out with a better story.
Okay.
Verizon has been dethroned. AT&T and its 5G evolution isn't actual 5G, as Tom will tell everyone. But I have had like 3 or 4 people in the last 3 weeks think it is 5G. Anyway, their 5G evolution does make AT&T America's fastest mobile network in 2019. PCMag reports it drove through 30 cities and 25 states, running 60,000 speed tests to determine the fastest mobile network nationwide with Samsung Galaxy S10 phones. AT&T currently has more LTE spectrum than T-Mobile or Verizon, according to Fierce Wireless. However, AT&T spectrum is often fragmented, coming in many small pieces rather than few large chunks, which is advantageous with many modems.
That part I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
So
that
newer
that would
modems can take advantage of this fragmentation, which helps AT&T be able to make better use of its spectrum where it couldn't before.
Oh, okay. So you're not saying fragmentation is a good thing. It's just fragmentation.
fragmentation makes your network run more smoothly, at least in certain cases.
With new modems. It didn't
Yes.
used to. Before, it was like, well, we can't use all of this spectrum all the time. But now new modems can grab those pieces of the spectrum. So now, even if your spectrum's fragmented, you're like, yeah, but we got more. These new modems can handle that.
I need to start running some speed tests so that I feel like it's faster. And it doesn't matter. It's still not going to work in my house. Just so you know.
Well, and that's why Sasha Segan and the PC Mag folks do a great job with this. They go drive around the country, taking samples. They don't hit every state, but they do get a good representative sample. And I always rely on this to kind of get a sense of where things are going. And it makes sense to me that AT&T wants to boost up its LTE speeds, whatever they're calling them, their LTE. They want to boost up their LTE speeds in advance of 5G actually rolling out. Because when people buy a 5G phone and subscribe to 5G service, when they're on LTE, they don't want to see a noticeable drop. Right. So they want that LTE to be as fast as possible. So they've been improving that. Actually, Verizon and T-Mobile have been as well. And AT&T is just, give them credit, done a really good job of that.
At the same, something nice about AT&T, but we're having to, right?
Well, Verizon
other than
too.
them lying about is 5G on their service, they're doing a very good job.
5GE, come on, it's fine. They're number one.
Extra 5G.
I'm a Verizon customer. I'm more or less happy with. Not necessarily happy with my bill every month, but I am happy with the coverage. However, I think stories like this, they always tend to, there's always somebody who's like, yeah, well, you should hang out in my house sometime because
right.
I have to be pressed up against the window on the western side of my house in order to make a phone call because you just have these weird pockets no matter how good any big company's network is.
And you turn on Wi-Fi calling and you still have 4 calls dropped this week alone.
That too.
Just saying.
You should get a different provider then.
Probably.
I mean, I had Verizon in the Bay Area and it was great. Loved it. I moved down here and Verizon in the neighborhood I was awful. Hated it. Switched to T-Mobile. Now it's great. Sometimes when I travel, T-Mobile not so great. Just kind of depends on where you are.
It's inside my house. If I walk out to the
get a different provider in your house then.
The call's coming from inside the house. Psych,
No,
it's not even going through.
Yeah.
USB, or Universal Serial Bus, for anybody who might have forgotten, has been historically a little hard to plug in correctly because you always get it wrong, right? Ajay Bhatt, who led the team at Intel that created USB, tells NPR in an interview today that the design for USB was intentional and that a version that could have plugged in either way would have been possible, but also would have required double the wires, double the circuits, and double the cost. Bott went on to say, quote, in hindsight, based on all the experiences that we all had, of course, it was not as easy as it should be. The newest model of the USB interface, which is USB-C, very prolific these days, was released 5 years ago and is reversible.
So
Wasn't always, though.
Did he explain why it takes 3 times to plug it in, though? In the article, why it's wrong, right?
That is human error.
No, my daughter gave me a video
Yeah.
of my grandson. He's like 2 years old, and he grabbed a USB cable for some reason. He tries to plug it in. It goes wrong, right. It's in human nature. There's something.
I think the first wrong is actually right, but we're too tentative.
Yeah.
We don't
Well,
wanna
we're
break
used to
it.
it being wrong.
And then when you get the second wrong, you're like, well, that one definitely is wrong. And so you go back and you give it a little extra oomph when you put it in.
And
I think it's
micro
The
USB do the same
USB-C
thing.
has been out for 5 years and has solved all of this for all of us, right?
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
has.
yeah, we have zero problems. Thank you, USB-C. No, it is kind of funny, and I'm sure we've all had these moments where you plug it in and you're like, "Ah, of course I got it wrong, of course," because you get it wrong so many times. It's like
You're used to
there
blaming
just
yourself.
must be some reason why I'm getting it wrong
You
all the
can look
time.
right in
It's
the
the
end
same
of
way I
it.
feel about my Apple TV remote. I hold it wrong at the beginning every single time I'm trying to change the channel or change whatever.
I got
But,
a little case for mine, a little rubber case from
I know.
Alibaba, and that
Yeah.
fixed it.
Well, there
Mostly.
are solutions that
Except
I
when
should
I grab
probably
it and we're actually
explore.
watching TiVo and it turns the TV on, switches it to the Apple TV. Yes.
But I think there are so many of us who have gotten it wrong so many times where we're like, the universe is conspiring. there's just no way I would get it wrong this much.
And here's the thing. Do you remember RS-232? Do you remember all of the serial cables?
Yeah,
You used to
yeah.
have to, sit there and go like,
Good
okay, I
look.
think the angle is there. And then even when you know it's right, you're like, but the pins aren't quite there.
But that's
Okay.
usually because it was like on the back or something, you weren't
Yeah, it was
sitting there
always in an
looking at them
inconvenient
both.
location. You could have had them be lots more expensive and be reversible, but I get why they said like, then people won't use it and we need uptake. Remember, USB is universal now, but it wasn't always. So
Mhm.
they needed people to use USB. So they needed to make the cables cheap so they could be included in the box with the device. So you just say, oh, well, I have the cable, I'm going to use it. So I like this defense of like, yeah, no, we knew it wasn't optimal, but there just wasn't an optimal solution that would have worked.
Now,
So we did our
next
best.
thing you
And
know,
when
you're going to
really-
be apologizing for how badly they name them with this USB 3.0 and
I will
3.1, and then
never defend that. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
they hate us.
Yeah. Well, it's 3.175 5GE. No, the naming is dumb. But most people don't care about the names. So if there is a defense of that, it's that, probably doesn't affect most people in their daily lives, right? It only affects us when we're trying to buy the right cable and we get annoyed. USB-C does get rid of the reversibility problem though, right?
Yeah.
every
I
time.
love USB-C.
And
Except when it's Thunderbolt and you don't know it, or it isn't Thunderbolt and you thought it was, and it was USB-C and it didn't charge. Other than that, I love it.
How
You
often
just
does
gotta
that
pay
happen to
attention
you?
a little,
Oh yeah, there's the speed of the cable actually affects, like I've got a dock that'll do
I mean,
Thunderbolt,
I
but
realize
the
it's
speed
an
of the
issue,
cable.
but does that happen to, like with any of your setups now?
Well, I know it's happening. I don't notice the speed difference, but I know it's wrong. So it totally bothers me, Sarah.
Well, I don't know. I think it's for all of us who have been like, USB is the worst. Why can't they just make it reversible? It is nice to know that the
They knew
person
it.
who led the team is like, we knew that. We
Yeah.
were trying to make it cheaper for everybody. Okay, we understand.
Yeah, I guess that's why I like this story is this is a person going, no, I wasn't an idiot. And no, you're not
Right,
wrong,
yeah.
that it would have been easier to make it reversible, but
Exactly.
you
I-
weren't there working on it,
I-
making the decisions. Here's why I did it.
I will add, before then, you had to deal with at least 2 to 3 different style of cables, whether it's a parallel Centronics or serial RS-232. It literally made everything simple overnight. Yeah, you couldn't plug it in backwards, but you know what? Both ends are different, so suck it up.
Yeah.
Roger is the final word.
Right.
I see you. You're just tweaking us. He says, I've never put a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in the wrong way. Like, entirely different thing.
You don't have an option
Entirely
to do
different
that.
An analog signal.
Wait, but then there's the 3-ring versus the 2-ring, whether you've got a microphone on it
good
too.
point.
There.
Good
Uh-huh.
point.
Mhm,
Uh-huh.
mhm.
Take
Yep,
that, I
yep,
see you.
yep. Yeah. Plot thickens.
Well, I think that's all that we have to say about the USB. So except to thank our dear friend and inventor Ajay Bhatt. We appreciate your work. To get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com.
Also, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. Submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. We're also on Facebook. If you hang out on Facebook groups, join our group if you haven't already. Facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
Let's check out the mailbag.
You know, our very own Allison Sheridan, who happens to be our guest today, wrote in earlier this week about Monday's show. Allison says, you were talking about Instagram not continuing their human help to regain access to a stolen account. You felt that a human helping would be better for users. I have a counterexample. Most or all of SIM swaps have been accomplished by the user being able to talk to the human at the carrier into thinking that they're the real owner. Perhaps not having a human in the mix is better for the user to regain their account.
Yeah, there's problems both ways, Allison. You're right. It's not, and remember, Instagram isn't discontinuing the human help. They're adding the ability to do it without a human in the mix. But that it still bugs me because when you're talking about this, if you train people right, they are more effective at restoring the account if they do it. When you do the automatic thing, if it works, then I'm on your side. I guess I just wasn't trusting that Instagram would make this work because they haven't been able to make it work yet.
Yeah. And I guess one thing that we don't know in this entire story is maybe 900 million people successfully regained access to their account with human help or without human help. But the ones that didn't, it was actually somebody scamming and doing the getting the SIM swap by faking who they were. So it might actually be very successful. It's just that when humans are involved, that's where you can do the phishing sort of stuff where you fake your way through.
The SIM swap stuff usually has to do with bad practices too. They don't properly have the impediments set up to stop someone because they're like, oh, well, nobody would ever do this. Nobody would ever lie. So it happens so infrequently. And then suddenly it was happening frequently and they didn't change their policies.
In my experience, when you fall back on, well, we just need to train the people better, that's where it always ends up failing.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. People are the weakest link, but it wasn't even just about training the people better. It's they trained them wrong. It wasn't humans making mistakes. It was the policy said, if they say this, go ahead and give them the new SIM. And that was a bad policy.
Okay. I gotcha.
Thanks to everybody who gives us feedback every day. Keep them coming. And also thanks to Allison Sheridan for being with us this fine Friday. Allison, where can people keep up with your work?
Well, the best place is podfeet.com. And I want to plug a fabulous Chit Chat Across the Pond light episode. And I love my own definition of light. I interviewed Dr. Devin Palashik about her work rehabilitating psychopaths in prison, violent criminal offenders, and how she's been able to rehabilitate them. She recently won the Queen's Birthday Honor, as in Queen Elizabeth, and her perspective on the work that she's done is absolutely fascinating and a little terrifying, which is always fun.
Wow.
Yeah, not light at all, but kind of amazing.
That's what I call light.
People just write psychopaths in jail off, right? And she's saying, well, maybe we can actually rehabilitate them. Yeah,
actually, she's demonstrated that they have been able to.
That's great.
Yeah, very cool. It's a fun interview, too. She's awesome.
Well, folks, we like to remind you that the best way to support Independent Tech News directly is at patreon.com/DTNS. It is the majority by far of our income. And we like it that way because it means we're only answerable to the people who actually listen to the show and want to support it. If you want to have influence over the show, if you want to, we just had our quarterly hangout yesterday and we asked people send us things through our Discord, through our Patreon. That's where we'll pay attention the most because we know you are invested in the show. Then become a member, patreon.com/DTNS.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Keep the feedback coming. We love hearing from you. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Be back Monday. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Good night, Rob.
Good night, Rob. Just make it really creepy.
I'm watching you sleep, Rob. Hey, red arrows.
So look at the time. I gotta go.
Hello. Yeah, sorry about that. Got a little creepy at the end, but let's pick a title. Gooddayinternet.showbot.tv. We have Where's the Sanity Mode?
Like it.
Also, Fake G Evolution. Humans are the weakest link. The first wrong is always right.
Oh, I like that.
That's pretty good.
I don't get that one.
Oh, on the USB.
Wrong, right.
Oh, yes. That's good.
You could do 2 wrongs make a right.
2 wrongs make a right. Yeah, because then you do wrong, and then you do it right. We're starting early because poets. That's more of a GDI title, though.
Right. Why? Poets? Yeah, poets.
Guys, I actually have to run off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you weren't kidding. Got
I
it.
wasn't kidding. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Bye.
being
Have a
on.
great weekend. Bye, Allison.
So the first wrong is always right.
I like that one.
First wrong is always right. Done. Copy that.
And then Huawei or the Wowa. There are the thes and the no thes.
Highway humor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are the thes and the no thes. Verizon's fake 5G falls to AT&T, except Verizon isn't the one with the fake 5G. It's AT&T.
AT&T. Yeah. AT&T is
Schrodinger's
coming
goes.
out ahead.
It's just how you say it. Does everything feel yellow?
Right. After cataract surgery, there's no blue. Actually, sounds kind of good. I hate blue.
Oh, yellow.
It's just how you say it.
It's just the
Actually,
way
that would be a good
you
GDI.
move it.
It's just
It's just
how,
how you say
How
it.
you say it.
just
yeah.
how you say it.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's a good one.
Just how you
works.
say it. Don't think about it. Just how you say it.
Narrowly beating out, there are the thes and the no thes.
That was pretty
The.
good, too.
There are the
That's a good
thes,
one.
there are no thes, and
There
just
are known
because,
thes, unknown thes.
and then and then you just have just because.
How do we, journalist folk, how do we feel about capitalizing the in a headline as an article in general?
Only at the beginning of the headline
Ooh,
would be the
okay.
style I was trained in.
And would you say that that applies to all articles in a headline?
Like
Hold on.
like
Let me-
A's and
Like to or
Associated Press
from
style
or,
book.
you know.
I went through this with Jammerby once at Twit. It's small. It's articles and prepositions, I think, was the
Or-
style.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because when I was working at TechCrunch, there had been so many debates across the board about
Mhm.
how things should be, and they were like, we capitalize every word in a headline, period.
Just to
There's
just to
no
not have to deal with
conversation. That's just the way that it is. And sometimes I'd be like, it looks weird, but it's also a standard that you've set into place, and that's fine.
right.
I wouldn't personally always do it that way. It depends on the headline.
I
really.
capitalized every word in a headline and was talking with Andy Guest, our managing editor at techtv.com.
I remember Andy. Mhm.
And Andy said, Tom, you're not German. Don't capitalize every word in a headline. Because apparently that's a German thing, is to capitalize everything.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Huh.
Yeah. And I said, you're right.
And-
I am
and-
not German.
What if you were German?
I would have taken a great offense and said, nine.
Get out of my office, Andy.
wait a minute, we're in your cubicle. Never mind. I
Yeah,
leave.
never mind. We're not even in an office.
Is he still copy editing?
I
or-
don't know what he's doing these days, actually.
I always remember coming in early to the office, and I was like, "Who's blasting all that punk music from their cubicle?" And it
That
was
would
just
be
Andy. He would be listening
Yeah.
to it, but he would be resting to it. Like he would have like a towel behind his neck, and just getting a few minutes before the workday started.
How early was this?
This
This is not something I remember.
I would wander in around 7:30.
Oh yeah, that's I was never there that early.
I would get in about 6 because that was the only way to make sure I'd get a seat on the train in.
Really?
And Andy would already be there.
Yeah. Like sometimes I didn't think he actually left.
Wow.
Or he just left for the evening and came back like at 4 or something. I don't know. I have never seen him come into work. That's the weird thing. He's every time the earliest I've ever been at work is 6 and he was already there. Like I've never seen it where he came into work. Like just a fixture.
I mean, was he leaving at 4? No.
I don't know because we had the we had the show in the studio.
Yeah,
so,
we were
like,
sort of in a different location.
And
Well, but I mean, Tom, if you're getting there at 7, I mean, you weren't leaving at 4 either because you were staying through the
Sometimes I
show. Yeah. Okay.
It depended on the day because I didn't go over for the show every day.
Yeah. Okay.
my schedule was set of around how late I had to leave.
And when this wasn't when I worked just on Screensavers and Call for Help. This was when I became the head of the whole website that I'm talking about. When I worked on Screensavers, I came in at like 10 because it'd be there till 7 or 8.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was 90 minutes for a time.
Yeah. Wow. Those were
Weren't
exceptionally-
those the days?
That's like
When we went down to 60, it was like everyone was like, "Yeah!"
yeah, we made it an hour-long show to start with, but okay,
Yeah,
an hour and a
yeah.
half. Hour and a half.
Yeah. I mean, you could fill 90 minutes.
Yeah,
But it was tough.
it was a daily show.
Cause like you spent the entire
What is
day
wrong with us?
prepping for the 90
keep
minutes,
doing
and then it
daily
didn't end
shows.
till 7 p.m. Oh,
I used to stay until 10 in the evening just to get things
Oh.
ready for because Call for Help started at 8 in the morning. So I had to make sure everything was ready to go.
that's right. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I better get this work. Because it used to be in the afternoon, and then they moved it up with Tech Live in the morning. It's like, all right, c'est la vie. I'll grab one of those Subway breakfast sandwiches that are mildly okay.
Oh, they smell so good though.
You ate fresh.
Did I? I don't know. That was before I learned about the whole, what they used, not bromide or whatever in the bread.
Oh, don't tell me. Their bread smells so good.
What's
bromide?
The stuff they threw on Chernobyl to put out the fire.
Well, it was
Oh,
it was the
gosh,
whole thing about like, Subway makes their bread using the same ingredients that you have in your gym mats. That was the whole.
Subway uses the same ingredients we use to put out nuclear fires.
Is that a thing that Subway is still doing?
Well, they only did in the U.S. because the FDA rule a while ago said that it was safe for human consumption.
Yeah, so it's fine. Why are you worried?
I mean, I eat my yoga mat. What's
Who
the
doesn't?
problem? Yeah.
If
it's
you're
delicious.
not doing upward dog right, if you're not eating your yoga mat.
Tom, there's no such thing as upward dog.
There is too.
No, there is not. It's
Yeah.
downward dog.
Downward dog is more common. There is an upward dog.
Downward versus upward dog.
You actually probably know this more than I do.
Tom and Sarah debate.
Upward dog yoga.
So Urdhva Krishnasana, upward facing dog.
Oh, that's
Down.
that's Cobra.
Wait,
That's Cobra.
What's Cobra?
It's the same exact thing as upward dog.
Oh,
Oh, okay. It's a cooler name to call it Cobra. I will give you
Yeah.
that.
Cobra Kai. Can I give it a try?
Upward dog Kai doesn't sound as good.
What do you think, Odie? He says,
We-
I prefer
I
upward
will
dog.
tell you the only reason I know upward dog is a real thing is that Ray does it all the time, and Eileen
Oh.
is the one who takes yoga, not me. And Eileen's like, "Oh, look, you do such a good upward dog."
It's been quite some time since I took a yoga class. In fact, I have not taken one since I lived in San Francisco, so it's been over 3 years. So Eileen gets the point on this one, but upward dog looks like Cobra to me,
Yeah, it might be the
which
same
is,
thing.
yeah, it's just one of those, like, it's a very, like, if you take yoga at all, or like certain things like happy baby, Cobra, warrior pose.
Like, I mean, are these
all that
the
stuff.
original names for them, or are they just over the years?
Well, no, because
No, I mean, yeah.
Indian or something. Named,
Yeah,
don't they?
Sanskrit usually
Sanskrit
is
name,
where
yeah,
it starts. But yeah, you have Western versions. But everybody knows, like what Savasana is at the end of yoga. You just, you get used to it. But you also know, like, what Warrior 1 versus Warrior 2 is. Whether or not you're good at it is another thing.
One is Kevin Durant.
Right? And Warrior 2 is Draymond Green.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's either one or the other, whoever you like better.
By the way, I'm wearing a St. Louis Browns hat today because it won 19 to -2 in the
Wow.
Discord pool. Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of crushed.
Huh. All right,
It beat a Peloton hat.
a Peloton.
Sorry, Peloton.
Wait, is that the bicycle that you ride
Yeah.
into the future?
Yeah.
the smart bike. Now, forgive me if I have forgotten or missed the conversation. Do you have a Peloton?
Yes, Eileen uses it every day.
Oh, okay. All right.
Loved it.
Yeah, no, now that sounds familiar. And I've it's a pricey kind of thing, but I feel like because I have a friend who loves his and is just like so into like certain folks who are instructors and the whole thing. And he's like, it will pay for itself if you use it every day.
I am not a fan of that argument for things. I'm like, if it paid for itself, they wouldn't sell it to you. But
Right.
in this case, and it does depend on your actual behavior. Like a lot of times, like it pays for itself because you'll do this thing that otherwise you would never do. I'm like, that doesn't really pay for itself. But in this case, she was going to SoulCycle and she was driving, putting wear and tear on the car, spending money on gas, but mostly spending a lot of money for these classes.
Yeah.
At SoulCycle.
Not cheap.
And so now she spends about the amount of 2 classes, which is about what she was taking a month, and does way more classes. So it's not necessarily saving us money, but she's getting a bigger health benefit out of it because she uses it more because she doesn't have to drive to go do the thing. And it's not costing us more than what she had been doing before either. So I feel like in her particular case, it totally makes sense.
I actually was on the wire cutter the other day. I'm on the wire cutter for all sorts of things, but I was like, I bet the wire cutter has probably looked into like home barbells, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I just need some stuff that where you can adjust, whether it's 5 pounds or 50 or whatever,
Right.
and it doesn't take up a big footprint. I could maybe even put it out in the backyard because I don't belong to a gym right now.
And there's all those ones where you just like press a button and then it automatically releases the ones that aren't the weight you want.
Exactly. And sure enough, they had a well thought out reason that this particular set, which was like 200 something, where you're like, okay, well, bit of a, it's, but to be able to have 2 separate weights that go from 5 to 50 on each side and can be put under your bed, no one can see them, kind of thing. I was like, as long as I was really good about using this in figuring out some sort of like a home gym kind of thing, then it pays for itself, right? Because this would be almost like in 3 months belonging to a gym, I would pay for the same thing over and over and over, or just the once. So I haven't actually bought them, but I was thinking about it.
I have them on my Amazon wish list. Whatever the wire cutter recommended is what I put on there. I did this.
Yeah. They look nice. I'm also like, I'm not much of a weight person, but when I used to go to the gym when I lived on the other side of town here in LA, weights are important, but I just don't belong to a gym anymore here. And I'm like, I should be lifting weights on some level. So if I'm not going to a gym, I probably should buy some weights.
A Bowflex.
Or a Bowflex. Well, that's the thing. Like then you need a whole room because you got to put it like on a wall, or I like the idea of this just being pretty. Not a big footprint in the house.
I do some push-ups and sit-ups kind of stuff. Which helps, but it's not the same as weights. Weights are good for things that you just can't.
I know.
I like isometric because it's easier on your joints and stuff, but there are certain things it's like, but weights are just better.
Well, and when you're depending, doesn't matter really what you weigh, but it's like little ladies, they're always saying like, be wary of osteoporosis, keep those bones strong.
I mean,
weights help.
Weights help, but having what I've discovered is it's best to do stuff that you can get in that you will do on a regular basis. Because when I used to take weightlifting, it was easy because it was part of class, so I was always lifting weights, twice a week. But after class, even though I had free, I could access the gym free because it's part of the school. I didn't go to it because I didn't feel obliged to go to it, and it was just like, I'll just do stuff I can do from home. So I do sit-ups. I used to do pull-ups, but mostly I do.
Well, I think that's
sit-ups
what
and
Sarah's saying,
Yeah.
though, is if you have the weights at home, then you'll do it.
Right.
Yeah.
You just,
More
you,
likely to
you
do it.
just have to hold yourself to that.
Mhm.
I do this every morning or 5 days a week or whatever you decide that your regimen is. I will say though, I can't do a pull-up. I can't do one single pull-up like from like a dead
Not
weight.
yet.
I can't do it. That's
But
really
once
hard.
you get these
Yeah.
weights, you will.
Well, I mean,
But it's a different
that's-
muscle set when
It
you pull.
is. Yeah, like
No.
no weight is
No, I'm
gonna
saying you work
let me
out
do a
the
pull-up.
muscles that you need for a pull-up, and you start to get to be able to do one. Then once you can do one, then you can work to two. That's how it starts. I'm cheering Sarah on,
Oh.
Roger.
Okay.
Yes, and I appreciate that. But I'm just saying, I don't know, like people who can do pull-ups, I'm like, you're a magician. They're really hard.
They are, and I can't do them now because I weigh too much. I used to
You know what
be
the
able to when I
hardest?
weighed.
You know what the hardest thing is? Saying goodbye.
Oh, man.
All right.
Why you got to bring us down, Tom Merritt?
Yes.
know,
But
I
thank you
know,
for
I'm
being with
sorry.
us, Tom Merritt, and audience.
And you're like, we're sticking around. Bye, Tom.
Yeah, get out of here, you scamp.
Yep. So everybody, thank you for joining us today. And please have a good day.
Have a good day and have a good weekend, Internet.
Ditto.